Attack of the Clones is widely recognized as the weakest film in the prequel trilogy. But if there's one aspect that unified fans and critics alike, it's the Kamino storyline, which added a sinister and detective tone never before seen in Star Wars. The planet is inherently linked to the Clone Wars, an event first mentioned in the third draft of Episode 4. George Lucas kept including the conflict in subsequent scripts, appearing in the final film.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
How did my father die?
The development and introduction of this society is a pivotal matter. After all, they're the ones who put the clone in the Clone Wars. With this in mind, Lucas started writing the screenplay for Episode 2 in late 1999. He conceived it as a film of contrast, divided into two main parts, with the initial mysterious tone leading to its tragic resolution. This is achieved by the use of the color palette. First you have the foggy Coruscant and Kamino, a water planet of continual storms. Then Geonosis, an arid world of rock formations, and Coruscant again at the end, completing the circle.
So it's blue and red that we're playing with. And you got Tatooine in there as well, which is your neutral yellow, which kind of nicely splits the movie into two halves.
Lucas was clear about two aspects for Kamino: that it would be a water planet because water is where life began, and that the army would be organic. Following Lucas's guidelines, the earlier concepts for the cloning world imagined a planet consumed by storms, aligning the weather with the tone of the movie.
This whole aspect of the film, which is the mystery, is based really on a 1940s, film noir mystery, Maltese Falcon, all the great mystery movies of the 30s and 40s is the influence here.
For the city structures, Lucas went back to the classic sci-fi imagery, making use of the retro flying saucer shape. They were based on the oil derricks in the North Atlantic, designed to withstand the forces of storms and waves. Some artists tried to give it a romantic touch by putting some shed of light, to represent a glimmer of hope amidst the storm. Something that reminds me inevitably of this scene. The planet began to take its final form, and was given the name of Kamino, a possible reference to the Chevrolet El Camino. Lucas continued with classic alien imagery to design the Kaminoans, but added an elegant, elongated body structure.
These characters, the Kaminoans, I wanted to do a little tip of the hat to Steven in Close Encounters to use a more traditional alien, the kind that everyone says come on the spaceships that land here on Earth.
In the middle of the design process, some ideas emerged that were later dropped, like telekinesis, a mohawk hairstyle, and luminescent Kaminoans.
I bring you love.
But since they were the only inhabitants of a watery world, the team started applying an aquatic theme. The ultimate design, chosen by Lucas, would blend the Spielberg alien with aquatic characteristics, such as head fins. When it came to their voice, the original plan was for them to have a heavily modulated androgynous sound. But this idea was dropped as it wouldn't be understandable enough for audiences. They were later given an eerie yet graceful and serene tone, in line with their look and personality.
Fett demanded only one thing, an unaltered clone for himself. Curious, isn't it?
Yes, that was really good.
There was just one thing left to do: to remove the long-necked Jedi Yarael Poof from Episode 1. Lucas was afraid that he might be confused with the Kaminoans, so he was replaced by Coleman Trebor. Lucas also explored the planet's fauna by introducing the Aiwa, flying mantas that had already been considered for Episodes 5 and 6. They were nearly featured in the Phantom Menace as part of the Gungan Air Force, but they ended up integrated into the Gungan Bongo design. Interestingly enough, their riders in Episode 5 would have also been alien-like creatures, the early Cloud City natives. Lucas's direction for Tipoca City took everyone by surprise. Instead of his used design, it became more akin to the THX look, with clean ultramodern and sterile interiors. This contrasted with the external landscape, representing the Kaminoans being always in control no matter the circumstances.
And deal with a much more sophisticated society than anything we've seen before. that looks different, that is operating on a level that's even beyond that of Coruscant.
In consequence, the concept artists adopted a white monotonous theme for the city, with simple and ultra-huge spaces, to be populated with thousands of clones. With the Kamino design finished, it was now time to bring it to life. Most of the tour within the clone facility was achieved using miniatures. Only Jango Fett's apartment module and the landing platform were created as physical sets.
Right. Oh, sorry, George.
The animation team worked really hard to get a dramatic performance out of these CGI characters, trying to capture their elegant and graceful nature, with special focus on their movement and clothing.
See how she walks in. We were paying attention to fashion models. We were thinking about Tai Chi. See how the movement of the arms are fluid, how the hands pass through. And then you'll always see when they come to a stop, there's a little extra flourish in their hands and their movement. It's fluid, and yet it's realistic.
The actors had to act fully surrounded by a sea of blue screen, something that proved to be rather inconvenient. Maybe because of that, they had to resort to all kinds of acting techniques.
George, when I come to their door, the first time I meet you and you open the door, George wanted you to look sort of suspicious of me, you know? And you were only wee. How old were you when we did that?
Yeah, 13.
13. So, you know, we did a few takes and George was like, wasn't quite, get it more suspicious. And I just leant down to him and I went, when I open the door, act like I've done a terrible fart. And he went, oh, and I said, just try it. So in the next take, you know, he opened the door and he looked at me and went, and it totally worked. Moving on.
With all due respect, General, if someone comes to our home, they better be carrying a big blaster.
The significance of Kamino has granted it a prominent role in series like The Clone Wars, where we witnessed the Separatists attempting to take the planet, and which gave us one of the most poignant deaths ever. However, its return seems unlikely, given its destruction by the Empire in the Bad Batch, marking the official end of the prequel era that began 20 years ago with Episode 2.
The cities have been destroyed, sir. All Kaminoan facilities have collapsed into the sea.
Henceforth, Kamino's future appearances may be limited to flashbacks, such as those featured in the Book of Boba Fett. The planet is also a notable presence in Star Wars games, such as the 2017 Battlefront 2, where we can explore many of Kamino's secrets. Its predecessor, the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, features the brilliant Kamino Uprising, an event no longer considered canon, which depicted a group of rogue Kaminoans rising against the Empire. Kamino also appears in all LEGO Star Wars games.
Do you like your up?
Finally giving us insight into what they do in their free time.